Today I'm going to show you how to make a fudgy green tea matcha brownie. So stick around. Welcome back to No Recipes. I'm Mark Matsumoto and I'm here to show you how to elevate your everyday meals. So smack that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss out. The holiday baking season is upon us. And this year, I decided to do things a little bit differently by baking green brownies. No, not that kind. These ones are like white chocolate blondies, except I've added a ton of powdered green tea leaves. So I guess they should be called greenies. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Anyway, they're delicious, so let's start by checking out the ingredients. Our dry ingredients are 100 grams of all-purpose flour, grams of matcha powder, a quarter teaspoon of baking powder, and an 1/8 teaspoon of salt. For our wet ingredients, I have 80 grams of cultured unsalted butter, 140 grams of white chocolate, 2 eggs, 200 grams of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Matcha is made from shade-grown green tea leaves that have been dried and ground into a fine powder. It comes in a variety of grades, but I prefer using the higher ones because they tend to have a more vibrant green color, and they're usually less bitter than the culinary grades. With matcha, you're generally gonna get what you pay for, so I recommend buying the best grade of matcha that you can afford. It's also important to note that matcha oxidizes pretty quickly, so you want to buy a small quantity fresh and use it as quickly as possible. The matcha on the left here is from an old package I had, and the one on the right is from a fresh pack that I just opened. Pretty big difference, huh? Okay, the first thing you want to do is set the oven to 160 degrees Celsius or 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I'm gonna line an 8x8 inch square pan with parchment paper. The best way to do this is to flip it over and cut a sheet of paper that's slightly larger than the pan. Then you can proceed to fold the paper so that it's slightly smaller than the size of the pan. Parchment paper is slippery, and getting this to fit well is important, so take your time here to get it right. Okay, let's test fit this. Perfect! Now let's cut slits into the corners. I'm just gonna unfold the parchment paper and use scissors to cut a slit at a 45-degree angle right to the folded corner. Then I'm gonna repeat this on the other 3 sides. Now you should be able to fit the paper into the pan without having the corners bunch up. For the dry ingredients, I've got a bowl with a wire mesh strainer over it, and I'm gonna add the flour, matcha, baking powder, and salt. Then I'm gonna sift them all together. This is particularly important for the matcha because it has a tendency to clump up, and there's nothing worse than biting into a bitter lump of green tea powder. You can see we've gotten rid of all the lumps, but the ingredients still aren't evenly distributed, so I'm just gonna whisk this together until it's uniform in color. Okay, let's set that aside, and in another bowl, I'm gonna add the butter and white chocolate. Then I'm gonna pop this into a microwave set at 300 watts for about 1.5 minutes. You can also do this in a double boiler, but either way you do it, be sure you don't let the chocolate boil or it's gonna separate. Now I'm gonna whisk this together until the chocolate is fully melted and the mixture is nice and smooth. If your chocolate isn't melting, you can pop it back in the microwave for a few more seconds to help it along. When it's nice and smooth like this, I'm gonna crack 2 eggs into it and whisk everything together until it's all combined. Then I'm gonna add the sugar, and vanilla. And we're gonna whisk this together until it's thick and syrupy. Next, I'm gonna pour the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. Don't you just love those contrasting colors? Now I'm gonna use a spatula to fold everything together. You want to get it smooth and free of lumps, but you also need to be careful not to overmix it or it's gonna make the brownies tough. Once the batter is evenly combined, I'm gonna dump it into the prepared pan. Make sure you spread the batter out all the way to the edges and into the corners so the brownies end up the same thickness throughout. You'll also want to smooth off the top. Finally, I'm going to drop the pan a few times on the counter to settle the batter and eliminate any large pockets of air. Okay, let's get this into the oven. I usually let my matcha brownies bake until the tops have gone from glossy to matte and the edges are slightly puffier than the sides, but you don't want any browning on top. My kitchen smells like matcha and butter, and this is looking great, so I'm gonna get it out of the oven and onto a cooling rack. Then you want to carefully remove it from the hot pan using the parchment paper so that it doesn't continue to cook. It's gonna be super soft, so keep that paper taut so that the brownies don't crack. Now we just need to let this cool completely. Okay, I've teleported about 2 hours into the future and the brownie has firmed up, so I'm gonna move this over to a cutting board and slice it up. These are pretty rich, so I usually cut them into 16 small squares, but you can cut them bigger if you like. Be sure to wipe off any gooey brownie from the knife periodically so you can get nice clean cuts. Now we just need to plate these up. They look scrumptious, don't they? I usually just pile them up on a contrasting plate, and today I've got a nice lacquered wooden plate here with gold and silver accents. As you can see, these green tea brownies are dense and fudgy in the center with a thin crisp shell on top. The edge and corner pieces end up a little more well done with a crisp cakey texture, which is a fun contrast to the chewy middle pieces. I usually serve these with a matcha latte, but they're also pretty awesome with a tall glass of milk. If you like green tea, these matcha brownies are the best thing since some genius invented green tea ice cream. These matcha brownies are a festive way to add a splash of color to your holiday baking, so I hope you'll give them a try. If you enjoyed this video, let me know you want to see more like it by giving this a big thumbs up and by sharing it with all the matcha lovers in your life. This video was made possible with the help of my amazing patrons. So if you're learning something new from my recipes, I hope you'll consider clicking the link up here to join the No Recipes crew and help support our future videos. Well, I'm gonna go wrap up these brownies and give them away before I'm tempted to eat them all. But I'll catch you in the next one.